So I'm gonna put the lathe in this room. This room's right behind my workbench. For 10 years, it was just full of junk, crap. I cleaned it up recently, and I'm gonna put the lathe on this tabletop. I'm gonna lower this table about 5 inches. I'm gonna brace the legs. Now this is 1 1/4, and it's 1/4 inch wall square tubing, so that the legs are really strong, but it could use some diagonal braces. And this room is insulated with these metal building panels that are insulated. So I could put an air conditioner in here, which would be sweet. This is my table. I'm gonna put the lathe on. It's a little tall, so I'm gonna cut the legs here. And I'm gonna add some diagonals here and some diagonals on the back. And then I think it's gonna be plenty strong enough. This is not lightweight stuff. It's like 1/4 inch wall, so it's pretty stout already. And all the weight will be here, not in the middle of the span. So I'm gonna beef it up a little bit, and I may even set the lathe on it. Let's see. So Medusa is on the table. I added 6 diagonals. The table is super strong. I think I'm good with this. And if it's not good, when I get it in the little building, which is actually a C-cam, I can drill through the wall and put a through bolt on the outside and bolt it to the wall, but I don't think that's gonna be necessary. So you're looking at what might be my new headstock. This is interesting. I started taking this thing apart. It's an old truck hub because I want the disc to bolt my new chuck on. And I got to thinking, this one's shot, but if they were good bearings, it's meant to hold up a truck, and it's hollow in the middle. All I would have to do would be to affix the chuck here, mount this, or either way, fix the chuck here and bolt this, fix the chuck here, and bolt this to the frame of the lathe, and I would have a headstock with a hole in the middle, which would be huge. But I'm not turning around now. I'm going to go ahead and finish what I'm doing. But anyway, I want this disc of metal to put, see if I can't get it apart. I know it's steel. I just welded on it. I don't know how hard it is. I've been trying to get this thing apart, and it's not meant to be taken apart, but I'm having fun with it. I finally cut a hole big enough to get a roller bearing out of, and I got 1 roller bearing out, so the rest of them should come out shortly. Things I enjoy doing, most people would not, for sure. It's pretty amazing. I got the outer roller bearings out, one roller at a time. It appears to have another set of roller bearings that I can't get to. I started cutting it here, but this is in the way, so I think I'm gonna go take the plasma torch and just waste all this and come back and see it. But man, I'm really kind of thinking about changing course and using one of these for my headstock. I don't know what they cost. I don't think they're crazy expensive. I don't know, this is for a 4-wheel drive. It may be more than like for a car. I'm planning on using this disc, but I don't really know what it's made out of, which is, kind of problematic. I know 2 things though. I was able to weld on it. I did a little test weld. So it's steel, not cast iron. And it has a lot of hammer marks in it where the mechanic who took this off of, whatever it came off of, did some beating on it. And you can see these marks kind of smash the metal, so it can't be too hard, so I should be able to turn it once it's welded onto my headstock. So that's my guide right there. It's steel and it's not too hard to turn, so I'm gonna move forward and use this or try to get this hub flange off and see if it won't work for me. Okay, there was the other set of roller bearings. Yeah, I'm liking this thing.
a new wheel on the 7-inch grinder will cut all the way through. It will reach all the way through the splines, but just barely. So after you use the wheel for just a few minutes, and then it no longer reaches through. And that's why on the first cut, when I had it outside, I did a lot of beating that I didn't show. Otherwise, I would have just used up 10 wheels. And now on this inside cut, one, I got smarter and brought my vise over here, which makes it a whole lot easier. And the cut's not quite so deep, so the grinder did go all the way through, or at least 99% through, and it broke off pretty easily.
Okay, we got lucky with this thing, even though it did take me a couple hours to cut it apart. This hub is going to be the first thing I put on the shaft of the lathe. I'll have to turn the shaft down because it's too big now. We'll get this hub on there, and then, ow, this thing's hot. And then I'm going to weld this to this, and it almost fits perfect. That little bump just kind of locks in here. It doesn't have to be super perfect, because then once this is welded to this, I'll turn the backside, the face of that thing. I can't touch it. Now this lip around here is almost the right size for this. This needs to be in here. This is what makes it strong when you're spinning it. It is like, it has that much spare room. So I will clean this up, and I will put a bead of weld around here. And after this is welded to the hub, like so. This would be the second thing I turn on the lathe. I'll face this because it's all mangled up from somebody beating on it with a maul, not me, probably to get it off the truck. And I'll face this down flatter so it'll be flush in here. And I'll turn the outside diameter of that weld, it won't take much, to lock in here. That needs to be real accurate, because that's what keeps everything centered when you start spinning. And then I'll have to drill 3 holes, 1, 2, 3, for these 3 bolts. 1, 2, 3. That's what keeps it from falling off. So, pretty excited. I brought my shaft to a machine shop this morning. They're going to turn it down for me so I can get started. They're turning it down for the bearings and for the other hub.
Got really cold last night, so a homeless person who's been kind of hiding out in this little corner, apparently his fire got away from him. I was there really right at the beginning of it. He kind of walked out and like shook his head like, I don't know what's going on.
Headstock shaft is at a machine shop getting turned down to fit these bearings and to fit the hub. It might be ready today, probably not. In the meantime, my stainless steel, whatever you call them, gods, are not perfectly parallel, and I can tell because when I slide this thing, it gets tighter and looser. It's not consistent. So I'm gonna take everything off, and I'm going to see if I can figure out what needs to be done. Maybe I can do it with some heat. Maybe I need to cut a couple of these welds loose. That'll be easy enough. And I do have an engineer's level, which I think is within like a couple thousandths per foot. I might try to do it with the engineer's level. So take it all off again and do what I can to get it straighter, if I can get it even straighter. It's pretty close, but it's not totally right. This little level is so sensitive. So I'm level right here. If I just slide down to here, I'm not level. And if I slide down to here, I'm not level. So, you know, the human eye, this thing looks incredibly flat, but it's not. So I gotta figure out what to do. But I do have it level, or I did have it level this ways, but not anymore. It's off a little bit. Okay, this is hurting my head. I've got the level right there, so we're level across here. The beam is wild, it's all over the place, but we're level more or less in the middle. Now this stainless steel goes uphill pretty much from the tailstock all the way to the headstock. It's not much, I mean, that's like, that's 3 lines, and 3 lines is this thickness. No, oh, shit. I don't know how many thousands that is, but that's more than it takes to get a level. Now this one over here, it goes uphill to the tailstop. Now, I don't really care if it goes uphill or downhill, as long as they both do the same thing. And they're not both doing the same thing. Whew. So, I need to cut some welds. This one's pretty level on this end. I can cut some welds on that one and lift it on this end and re-weld it. Wonder how this end is. Yeah, now this end's crazy off. Okay, I've come to an epiphany. It doesn't matter if this is level or if this is level or if they're level sideways. What does matter is that they're both the same. So if they both run uphill, that's fine. If they both run downhill, that's fine. Because that can be adjusted with the table legs. And if it slopes this way or this way, it doesn't matter. I can adjust that with the table legs. What I can't adjust is if they don't match. They have to match. So I've cut all the welds on this one. And I've got this straight piece of stainless steel, and I have a spacer pipe. So if I put the pipe in there and the little black mark touches on both ends, and whatever the level reads right here, let's see, where's the level? We used to set pumps with these kind of levels, but now, my last 5, 6, 8 years in construction, all the pumps were set with fancy lasers. Okay, so I kind of messed that up. I left this one tacked. I should have left this one tacked because this all needs to come up. So I'll just put a spreader block here and put a little tack on this end, and I'll work my way back this way to get the slope the same way. And I got weld distortion to deal with, and I think I'll deal with that just by putting a little bitty weld at a time. Put this back on here and torqued it down because it does torque either this base moves or this moves just a little bit. So it's tight, and that's where it's always going to be. So that's cool. Now I got the width set with this piece of pipe and this washer, and it's tight with the clamp. And the level says I'm on that black Sharpie mark, and I got a tack on it. So I'm gonna go like every 6-8 inches all the way down and get the same slope and the same width and get a little tack, and on both sides and try to make it not move with the heat, although it wants to. Just this little bit of tack right here moved a little bit, but such a little bit. So I'm done. I'm super happy. I think we're within a couple of thousandths all the way down. And for a machinist lathe, that's nothing to brag about. But for me, that's freaking amazing. It's like 50 times better than it was before I started. And I didn't put any huge wells, but I put a whole bunch of little wells. You know, it's good when you put it back together now. I got my shaft. I got my shaft back from the machine shop. And what they did, I don't even think they turned it. I think they emery clothed it from here to reduce the diameter so it would fit in these bearings, because it would not fit in there before. And then they turned the end down from here to here for this coupling. This is the coupling that came off the other boat shaft. This will go on here, and this will hold the pulley, or however I'm going to drive the thing. But I'm not ready for that. So I got the shaft in there. I got all the big bolts tight. And I started messing with this dial indicator, Harbor Freight piece of junk. It just won't stay put. But we're getting there. We're getting there. We'll put it on top, ran from one end to the other, and watched the dial. We fought with it for a while, and then I realized that right in here, the shaft is worn, and it makes the dial indicator read. You can read that actually. But when you get past that worn spot, then it goes back to unworn spot. And the goal is to have it read the same from one end to the other. So I got it close, and then I put it on the side and did that. And so so top and bottom you correct it with the jack and bolts under here. Side to side you just loosen this bolt and pivot it a little bit. So I went top, I went side, I went top, I went side. Now I'm back on the top, and each time I'm getting it a little closer. It is a pain in the rear, and it's not going to be perfect. Apparently the ways, believe it or not, are not perfect, but it's getting closer. It's getting closer every time. And when I get it where I want it, I'm going to weld all this somehow without moving it, and then this gets chopped off because the chuck goes right here. So all of this is for the sole purpose of getting this shaft straight with these ways and everything else. So if I can get it pretty straight this long, by the time I cut it off and put that chuck on there this short, it's going to be pretty good for a bare loop project. Okay, so right now I'm reading 2,000ths here, and back at the starting point I'm reading 2,000, and in the middle where this worn area is, it's all over the place. That gets cut off. So I think vertical is pretty good. Now this dial indicator with this little contraption, it ain't too good. So you see, it looks like it is coming up, and maybe it is. No, it's going down. The gauge is reading more numbers. So this is a worn spot in the shaft, which again will be cut off. And then when I get back toward the shiny part of the shaft, it comes back up to, there's a little bump right there. To 2. So vertically I think we're pretty good. Now I'm going to put this back on the side, and I'll readjust the side, and that'll probably screw up the vertical again. But each time I go back and forth, I'm getting a little bit closer. And I'm assuming that these ways are perfect, and they're probably not, but my goal is to get this as parallel to this as I can, so I can weld this off. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it a day. I got it really close both ways. I think as close as I can get it. Apparently, you know, the shaft's not perfect, and my ways are not perfect, so this is a bunch of averages. Tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and tighten these set screws on this shaft, because I haven't done that yet. I don't know if that's going to affect anything. And I have this stop collar that goes on here. I'm going to put that on and tighten it up, and then recheck it one more time, and then try to figure out how to weld it without distortion. And that's going to be tricky, because I have a bigger crack here than here. I may need to put something in there to minimize the amount of distance that the weld can pull. Yeah, it's going to be tricky. So to brace up my bearing support platform, I've cut channels instead of flat steel. I wanted to leave some opening so I could get to these bolts, because I don't know if I'm going to need to adjust this or just replace it altogether with a truck hub, which is what I'm kind of thinking of now. And then I could use this whole structure on my wood lathe. So I think it'll be strong enough. If I get these right, I can always add. I can add some more if I have to, but I don't think it's going anywhere. I mean, I only got a 2 horsepower motor. You know, there's only so much it can do. Anyway, we'll weld this up and see if I need some more. We are welded for good. I haven't ground no welds yet, but pretty good for what I usually do. And then I got the hub put on the end of the shaft. This is the one that went with the shaft to the machine shop, so it fit nicely. And I put the 2 original locking bolts in there. I had to cut them a little shorter because they stuck out and they hit the frame. And I don't have a key or anything in there yet. It's just on probably temporary. And then this is the brake hub that I'm going to attempt to use as a shiv, and it's bolted on and it's centered because I had cut that little that little raised area in the middle when I was at my friend's lathe. So this is all good. Now on the other end, this hub is going to go right here, and that's what the chuck is going to affix to. So I need to cut this shaft right here. So here we go. I need to swing the light out of the way so I can get my hoist this far over. Get the hoist over the shaft, hold it so it doesn't fall. I'm gonna cut it. Okay, nice and uneventful. My next thing I need to do is to turn this shaft down to fit this flange adapter. But I can't do that until I get motorized. So I guess the next thing to do is look at mounting the motor, which I kind of started on, but I didn't get very far. So the motor had these gold legs sticking out of it, gold colored legs. And I found a piece of iron that fit, so I cut it and I bolted it, and now I have it kind of clamped into place and sitting on this board. And I don't know, the belt seems to run true, but I gotta go get the control panel. It's at home, and hook it up and give this thing some power. This is getting exciting. I was wrong, the controls are here. The box that they go in is at home, so I have everything I need to make this thing work. So this black one goes to this black one. No, we don't. Oh crap, I forgot already. The red one goes to, I need my glasses. This is serious. So it's possible, if I didn't mess anything up, that we're about to turn the motor. Look at that baby turn. Quiet as a mouse. Give it some more RPMs. Man. This is awesome. Just plain awesome. Let me give you some more speed. Okay, that's wide open. The belt looks happy. I don't know how fast I should be going to spin stainless, but let's see what happens. Oh my goodness. Is it cool or what? Uh-oh. Small problem. I gotta reconfigure because I'm hitting here. And I gotta go further, so I'm gonna have to turn something around.
Well, it was working until it wasn't, and now it doesn't. So I guess we'll have to do some research for the next video and figure out what's going on. Thanks for watching.